All right, welcome back everyone to the first week of the GLCC playoffs. That is the Gym Leader Challenge Circuit, a monotype draft league hosted by myself and my co-owner Central. Make sure to check him out in the description. His channel is there. He posts his content every week, and he is also playing in the playoffs. So if you guys want to see his playoff matches, make sure to check him out, and also all of his future content as well. But last week, the regular season ended, and this week we have 4 playoff matches to watch, as well as 1 exhibition match. So make sure to stay tuned for all of these matches so that you can see what the standings look like at the end, and what next week's semifinals matches will look like. But yeah, also in the description, there is a Discord link to join our server. And right now applications are open for season 2. So if you're interested in participating and playing in season 2, make sure to join the server and fill out the applications. Those applications close March 18th. So that would be about 2 weeks from today. So make sure to get your application in if you're interested in participating next season. But with that, we're going to get into the recap. So the first match, we actually have myself versus Dracagon. So I'm playing Mono Flying. Dracagon is Mono Fire. And in terms of the sets that I'm bringing this week, we have a Heavy Duty Boots, Prankster Thunderous. We're running Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Rain Dance, and Thunderwave. Pretty standard set, except for the Rain Dance, which is just obviously to reverse the sun, weaken fire type moves. We have a Weakness Policy Articuno with Terra Fire, Freezing Glare, and Ancient Power, as well as Double Dance. We are a Choice Scarfed Landorus with Sheer Force, Terra Ground, or just a regular Choice Scarfed Landorus with Sheer Force, Earthquake, Rockslide, Facade, and Stealth Rock. Facade is in case I get burned, and Stealth Rock is just in case I have the chance to set them up. We have a Lumberry Dragonite in case I get burned once again, which you'll see is a pretty common theme throughout my team. We're Earthquake, Rockslide, Extreme Speed, and Dragon Dance. We have a Custap Berry, Unburdened Drifblim with Endure, as well as Shadow Ball, Strength Sap, and Destiny Bond. We have a Lumberry Zapdos, which is Sub, Bulk Up, and Thunderous Kick or Chop. So that's the team I'm bringing this week for playoffs. And then Dracagon's team is going to be a Choice Scarfed Arcanine with Head Smash, Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, and Stealth Rock. We have a Choice Scarf Rotom with Trick, Volt Switch, Overheat, and Thunderwave. A Life Orb Cinderace, Smackdown, Pyro Ball, U-Turn Taunt. Talonflame Boots with Willow, Roost, U-Turn, and Brave Bird, a defensive set. And then we have a Terra Ground Charizard, also Boots. Dragon Dance, Thunder Punch, Flare Blitz, Rockslide, and then finally a Power Herb Iron Moth, which is running Discharge, Fiery Dance, Meteor Beam, and Agility. So overall, it is a neutral matchup, but we both have very good coverage options for each other. I have a lot of ground and rock coverage on my team, and Dracagon has a lot of rock and electric coverage on his team. And so it's really going to be a super fast-paced, hyper-offensive game. And yeah, with that, we can get into it. Let me just zoom in a little bit so we can see it. Okay. All right. So we're going to see a Talonflame lead into my Landorus. I am Choice Scarfed, so off the bat, I get a kill on the Talonflame with Rockslide. Charizard comes out. I know it's going to Terra Ground here, so I switch out into Zapdos to try to get off some chip. It goes for the DD, which is really scary. I don't get paralyzed, and so I get off with Thunderous Kick. And I sack my Zapdos because it's too low to really do anything, and Dragonite can come in now and click E-Speed at -1 defense. It should pick off the Charizard. So we get an E-Speed damage on the Rotom. And then Rotom goes for Trick on my Dragonite as I Rock Slide. So now my Dragonite is Choice Scarfed, which is really nice because Choice Scarfed Dragonite with Rock Slide and Earthquake looks really, really good into this team. The Rotom is also at 2%. bit of an unfortunate roll because if it had gone down, I could have just clicked Earthquake and pretty much won the game. Um, at this point, like switched out, sacked one more Mon maybe, go into Landers, just click Earthquake 5 times, and then if that doesn't work, then I can click Earthquake on Dragonite 5 times. But because the Rotom is still alive, there is still a Levitator, so we do have to play around it. So we see Rock Slide come out as the Charizard comes back in. I just keep spamming Rock Slide because I can take any hit that this wants to go for. So we eat the Rock Slide out with Multiscale, go for another Rock Slide, takes out the Charizard. Here I just stay in because I don't want to let this set up. We see the Agility come off from the Iron Moth, and Meteor Beam comes out to take out my Articuno, which I just sack. Also on that turn, I'm pretty sure I saw the calc say that Dragonite should kill the Iron Moth. But I think this Iron Moth does have a solid amount of bulk. Yeah, it has 72 HP. And so that's the reason why I also stayed in, because I also thought that it would just kind of OHKO it. And I didn't want to let it set up and be kind of annoying for my team. But yeah. And now Dragonite comes in, E-Speeds to pick it off. Now the Choice Scarfed Arcanine comes in. I don't want to sack my Dragonite just yet, just because it does have that Choice Scarf now, which is really nice because it outspeeds both the Cinderace and the Rotom Heat. So I do go into my Drifloon to sack it. However, I get pretty lucky here and a Head Smash Miss comes out. So now I go for Endear, trying to pop my Custap, and another Head Smash Miss comes out, which is unfortunate because it does mean that I don't get into my Custap range and I can't go for my Custap Shadow Ball or Custap Strength Sap or whatnot. But I go for another Endear. I do get the Endear off as the Head Smash comes out, and this time it does hit, take me down to my Endear. So I get my Custap off. I go for a Shadow Ball, and here I make a bit of a misplay. I should have just clicked Shadow Ball again. I don't know why I Strength Sap, to be honest. There's no real reason to. I outsped it, and I should have just clicked Shadow Ball. Because clicking Shadow Ball, it was a roll to take it out, but also, as you'll see, because the Cinderace is Life Orb, Shadow Ball would have just killed it outright, and then I would have just had a fast Drifblim, which would have forced out the Arcanine, at which point then I could sack the Drifblim, go into Dragonite, click Rock Slide, and then if the Head Smash takes out my Dragonite, then I can go into Landorus and click Rock Slide, or go into Thundurus, get off a T-Wave, etc., etc. It just would have put me in a little bit of a better spot, since I wouldn't have to take out 3 Mons, and I would only have to take out 2. But regardless, we see the Head Smash come out. Crit does not matter. Now my Scarf Dragonite comes out. We do see the Rotom get sacked, and unfortunately here I missed the Rock Slide. Kind of justice since so many Head Smashes were missed, and I had clicked Rock Slide like 50 times already. But if I had hit this Rock Slide, then I also could have just switched out, sacked Thundurus, clicked go into Lando, and just click Earthquake, because I do outspeed both the Arcanine and the Cinderace. And it does in fact OHKO Arcanine, and at this range Cinderace also dies. Even if it's Sucker, honestly, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it would die after Life Orb recoil. And it shouldn't be able to OHKO me in one with anything. So, yeah, a bit of an unfortunate miss at this point, but definitely deserved, considering how many Head Smashes Dracoon has missed. But yeah, now Rock Slide comes out, takes out the Cinderace. Cinderace gets sacked. I now sack off my Dragonite because it doesn't really beat this Mon, and I want to get a free switch into Thundurus to hit Thunder Wave, because if I hit Thunder Wave, then I slow this down. Honestly, yeah, I think honestly at this point I probably just lost. Well, actually, okay. So my thought process was that if I go for the Thunder Wave, it gives me as a maximum number of outs, because I do live. So I'm forced to click Rock Slide here, right? Because the Rotom is still alive. So because I'm forced to click Rock Slide here, I could just go hard Landers and have Thundurus in the back as a sack, or as a way to kill the Rotom Heat. But yeah, maybe it was actually safer to go into Landers here, click Earthquake. And if he goes Rotom, then I can go hard Thundurus on the Volt Switch. But then it kind of just puts me in the same position, I guess. So yeah, I mean, this was really tough position for me because this Scarf Arcanine kind of just wins since I can't really click Earthquake on my Scarf Lando since the Rotom is still alive because I missed Thunderwave or that missed Rock Slide from earlier. So yeah, but I just go for the Thunderwave, trying to maximize my number of outs so that I can paralyze it. I can flinch it with the Rock Slide, or I can or like just force it out in general. And so that would give me the maximum number of outs to win with Rock Slide Landorus, even if I miss one or something else happens. But Landorus comes in. Head Smash does miss, which is a little unfortunate, but it didn't ultimately matter because I did live one, and getting off the Rock Slide, it only really mattered if I missed two. Because even if I missed here and it had hit, he would have to hit another Head Smash, and then that would matter. But at this point, because I am still at full, then I just click Rock Slide and click Rock Slide, and yeah, the game is wrapped up. Yeah, overall, it was a pretty hacksy game, but I think it was pretty balanced on both sides in terms of the hacks. So it was definitely a really super fast-paced and very stressful game to play. But I do end up winning the game, but Dracogon put up a really, really good fight, and overall, Dracogon has done really, really well this season without gouging fire on his mono fire team, which is super impressive because gouging fire is definitely one of the best mons for mono fire. So not having that option and still making it to playoffs is pretty impressive. So thank you again for joining our league this season, Dracogon, and we hope to see you back next season. But with that, we're gonna move on to the second game. So the second game we have is going to be Gradients with Mono Ground versus Leader Flanagan, which is Mountain Man running with Mono Poison. And this is a bit of an unfortunate matchup for Mountain Man. Mountain Man has been going on a tear this season. He is second seed, I believe, or maybe second seed, yeah. He's second seed. He's gone on a serious tear, 6-1. Especially considering in the draft, he wasn't able to get a lot of Poison's really big threats like Iron Moth and things like that. So he's really shown how you can take a team that doesn't really have top tier threats and might be a type that's often underestimated like Poison, and really turn that around and get creative in the builder and win matches super well. So also the gym leader persona is really cool. On Gradient's side, he was able to pull through with a 6-0 last week and make it into playoffs. Pretty much clutch up at the last few weeks to secure his playoff spot. So that was super impressive with this mono ground team that he's running. And Ursaluna Blood Moon has definitely been a huge MVP in that. But yeah, overall, this is obviously a very tough matchup for Mountain Man. I believe I do have Mountain Man's pace. Yeah. So we do have a Life Orb Reverum that's Terra Water with Terra Blast Hard Press, which is cool. High horsepower and shift gear. We have a Eviolite Quillfish, Destiny Bond Spikes Liquidation Rain Dance with Swift Swim. We have a Amoonguss Black Sludge, Regenerator, Giga Drain, Grass Knot Spore, Worry Seed. Worry Seed is really cool. I'm assuming that's for Gliscor to help chip it down, which is honestly a really cool tech. Because it does let Amoonguss actually beat Gliscor, especially if it's a non-acrobatic set. Since you can Worry Seed it, it will take 20% or 12.5% from the poison. Or because it's Toxic Orb, actually, I believe it does increasing damage. Like, it just counts as a Toxic. And then with Giga Drain, you definitely do 1v1 it. So, super cool tech from Mountain Man. We have Ability Shield Wheezing for the Excadrill in case it's Mold Breaker, which it could be, it might not be as well because Gradients did bring his Hippowdon for Sand. It is a Flamethrower Taunt Destiny Bond Will-O-Wisp set. We have a offensive Tentacruel with Hydro Pump, Giga Drain, Ice Beam, and Rapid Spin. And if it gets off a Rapid Spin, it can definitely put in some serious work here. And then we have a Air Balloon Glamora with Toxic Debris, Earth Power, Dual Screens, and Memento. So I'm assuming that's to help the Reverum set up and get in a really good position to win. Terra Water Reverum looks really good here if the Gastron's removed. Amoonguss obviously looks really strong. Ursaluna Blood Moon is definitely super scary for Mountain Man to contend with. it doesn't look like he has a great switch into it or a great answer to it. So it's really going to be trying to prevent it from getting too set up or positioned in a way that it doesn't really have the option to click buttons or get set up. And on Gradient's side, it's going to be really trying to chip down checks so that he can go for Ursaluna Blood Moon endgame or potentially a Garchomp or Excadrill sweep, depending on the abilities on and the sets. But with that, we're going to get into the battle. So we see a Gastrodon lead into the Quillfish. So the Quillfish is hard-walled by the Gastrodon because it is mono liquidation, but we do see a bunch of hazards go up. Earth Power does a lot, actually. But we see Destiny Bond come out as the Gastrodon goes for a Surf, takes out the Quillfish, but also goes down itself. So now we have 2 spikes up. Glimmora comes in, Air Balloon. With Earth Power, probably does a solid chunk to the Excadrill. Excadrill does go for the Iron Head. We will see if it... So we don't see a flinch, which is really nice for Mountain Man. He does get off a nice Earth Power here. We do see an Iron Head come out. I think it's interesting that Gradients didn't decide to Rapid Spin here because the interaction does work that after the Toxic Spikes go up from Toxic Debris, the Rapid Spin actually gets rid of them. So you end up with no hazards on the field, and I'm pretty sure... I mean, this is a Glimmora, so I'm pretty sure Rapid Spin killed from an Excadrill at the 5% range. So I think a bit of an interesting play there to go for Iron Head, but maybe it was a play to try and get as much damage on Weezing switching in or something like that. So definitely understandable. But we see now Hippowdon comes out, sets up the sand as Terra Water Reverum comes in, goes for the Shift Gear. And then we see a Endure Hippowdon, which is really cool. Terra Blast comes out, and it's a red card and not a Cuss App. Yeah, that's really cool because, I mean, otherwise the Toxic would really be problematic for this Endure set if it was like an Endure Cuss App because it would just go down to the Toxic at the end of the term, and it wouldn't be able to pop the Cuss App, which is actually something that happened last week when Gradients brought, or Exilus brought Endure Valiant with a berry, I think a Lychee berry maybe, in order to get a plus attack nature, but it died to the Sandstorm after the Endure. So yeah, really cool to see this tech, especially on Hippowdon, which I didn't even know got Endure. So really nice. And yeah, with that really neutralizes the Reverum, forcing it out. Weezing comes out here. We see Excadrill come out with the Mold Breaker, but it does go for the Rapid Spin instead of the Earthquake, as Weezing takes it out with a Flamethrower. Now we see Ursaluna Blood Moon come in. See, Combine, is this Weezing Taunt? The Weezing is Taunt. Okay, I think probably going for Taunt there to prevent this Mon from setting up might have been a little better. But also it's hard to tell whether or not this could just be Specs because Specs does kind of look really good into this team. So fair enough to go for the Destiny Mon and try to take out the Ursaluna that way. But we see a Combine come out from the Ursaluna, and now the Weezing is kind of set up fodder. Yeah, it does go for the Taunt now, but Ursaluna is +2. Blood Moon does come out, take out the Weezing. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you can't really sack anything else. As good as the Weezing is with Levitate preventing Blood Moon from just clicking Earth Power all the way, it is kind of tough to sack everything else because you need Reverum. It's your only real win condition at this point. Jellicent is really good for being able to take out the Gliscor and the Garchomp with Ice Beam, and the Amoonguss is just like good as a switch in. So yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you have to go Amoonguss and try to click Spore. Put this Mon to sleep, then go into potentially Tentacruel or Reverum. Probably Reverum to hit it on the physical side, and go for dual Terra Blast. And then you just kind of have to hope for like 3 turns sleep, or that Reverum lives, which it definitely doesn't. So pretty much just have to go into Amoonguss, go for the Spore, put it to sleep, go into Reverum, and kill it with 2 Terra Blasts. Now, that's assuming that Amoonguss lives a +2 hit, which it might. It might live a +2 Earth Power, or a Hyper Voice since it can't go for Blood Moon. I doubt it lives +2 Blood Moon, but it might live a Earth Power or a Hyper Voice. I'm not 100% sure on the head calc though, because if it doesn't, then this play is correct into going into Tentacruel to try to chip it down or get a freeze off with Ice Beam maybe. Yeah, we see Giga Drain come out. I do think probably just going for Ice Beam to try to get a freeze off is probably a little better because that's really your only out at this point. But I mean, yeah, I don't think it really matters that much in this case. We see Hydro Pump. Yeah, or Hydro Pump just for raw damage. Yeah, maybe like an Ice Beam into Hydro Pump or like a Hydro Pump into Hydro Pump in order to put it in range of the Rev Room. Could have been nice here. Yeah, over Giga Drain because you're not really going to heal out of range for the Giga Drain. But Rev Room does come out though and take out the Ursaline Blood Moon. But now, yeah, Garchomp comes out. Outrage does 72% to the Amoonguss. And yeah, I mean, Garchomp is just way too strong. So I think it does just wrap up the game here. Yep. And with that, Gradients does in fact win out against Mountain Man. So unfortunate end to Mountain Man's tear through the league. But Gradients has in fact secured himself a spot in the semifinals. And thank you to Mountain Man for participating this season and showing us all what Poison can really do. Yeah, we hope to see him back next season. With that, we're going to take a little break and go into our exhibition match for this week. All right, we're back with the exhibition match between Cold as Ice and Shattered Backboards. And this is just like a match for fun, just to see the Dark versus Ghost matchup. And see who will come out on top. So I won't comment too much on like the gameplays and things like that, but we're just gonna watch it together. Yeah. So we see Dragapult come out on lead. See Samurott with Ceaseless Edge, Colbur Berry lets Dragapult live. We see Pounce, which is Fire Tech. Unfortunately, I don't think Dragapult lives. The second one, but Scarf Hammerot does decide to switch out. I'm assuming it's Scarf since it outsped the Dragapult. We see Murkrow come out, not eat the Dragon Darts at all, get off a T-Wave though. And then we see Samurott come back out to Ceaseless Edge and take out the Dragapult. Sableye comes out. Actually the Zoroark comes out. Crit does in fact take out the Zoroark, which is really unfortunate. And now Gengar comes out, clicks Thunderbolt. Stays in, clicks Thunderbolt again. We see Knockoff from the Meow come out, takes out the Gengar, but does get disabled, so if it's choice, it does have to switch out here. We see a Sableye. We do see a switch out. Sableye Terra Fairies up, goes for the Nasty Plot. Wow, offensive Sableye. We see Calm Mind Umbreon with Terra Poison. We see Dazzling Gleam come out from the Sableye. Doesn't do too much to the Umbreon. We see Thunder Wave to paralyze it. Synchronize does come out and paralyze the Sableye as well, as Umbreon continues to set up Calm Minds. See Spectrier come out now. Umbreon gets paralyzed. We see Taunt from the Spectrier. Very cool bring, but we see Dark Pulse actually obliterate the Spectrier. Golden Go comes out now. Probably takes the Dark Pulse. I don't know how much damage it really does with Mega Rain. Yeah, it does like 22%. A Jetpack is really cool. And then we see Dark Pulse come out into the Sableye. Sableye does get off the Prankster Recover. Umbreon gets paralyzed, and now I'm assuming it'll just be a Calm Mind war between these two. Yep, we do see just a Calm Mind into a Nasty Plot. We see paralyzed Sableye as Umbreon gets off another Calm Mind. And then we see another Nasty Plot come out from the Sableye. Umbreon Calm Minds, and now I think Dark Pulse is going to be doing too much to the Sableye. Yeah, it does 50%. And Sableye gets paralyzed, and then Dark Pulse does take it out. And from here, Umbreon probably just takes out the Golden Go. It has like 4 or 5 shots. Yeah, Mega Rain does like 10%, yeah, 12%. And then Dark Pulse does, in fact, take out the Golden Go. So, very cool exhibition match between both Shattered Backboards and Cold as Ice. Fun to watch, and we hopefully will see them back next season. But yeah, with that, we're going to go back to our playoff matches. So we have a third playoff match for the quarterfinals, and that is going to be Mono Water versus Mono Ice. Sir Blue, who is number 1 seed, versus Lunar Echo, who is number 7 or 8, I believe. So yeah, we're going to see Quackable, Greninja, Quagsire, Manaphy, Pelipper, and Walking Wake. From Lunar, I believe I have pastes. Yeah. We see a Salic Berry, Endure, Upper Hand, and Reversal. Quackable with Swords Dance. Very fun set. We have Greninja with Salic Berry. Also Endure. and then upper hand as well, Rock Slide and Swords Dance. We see a Focus Sashed Quagsire to get up Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rock. We see a Keyberry Manaphy with Stored Power, Rest, Scald, and Take Heart. We see an Eject Button Pelipper with Surf, Hurricane, Roost, and U-Turn. And then we see a Yachi Berry Walking Wake with Flamethrower, Low Kick, Hydro Steam, and Sunny Day. So yeah, on blue side, we do see a Lone Ninetales with Freeze Dry looking really, really strong here. Bombsnow also is really good just with Grass Stab in general. Lapras is really nice for that Water Absorb, although I don't think Lunar has that many water types on this team. Yeah, I like water type attacks. We see Avalugg here to wall the Quaquaval. And then we see Iron Bundle here just to be a nuisance with Freeze Dry. And then Baxcalibur in the end here to just do a lot of damage. But yeah, with that, we're going to get into it. So we see an Iron Bundle lead into the Focus Sash Quagsire. Freeze Dry does come out, brings it down to its Sash. It does get up T-Spikes, which are really nice, unless Blue has a chance to spin. But until then, they will be doing a lot of work to Blue's team, especially considering how offensive it is. Quaquaval comes out. Bundle does switch on the Endure. You see Swords Dance come out from the Quaquaval. Bombsnow does Giga Drain. And then we see probably a reversal here. Yeah, doesn't do too much to the Bombsnow. Bombsnow does get up Veil. Even after the poison, I don't think it's in range. Yeah, so it just goes for a Giga Drain. And the Veil is up. Blue is looking really, really good here, in a super good position for sure. Lunar decides to go for the Take Heart. Leaf Storm comes out from Bombsnow. Doesn't do too much damage, and makes Blue have to switch out here into the Lapras as this Manaphy continues to set up. This Manaphy is getting really, really set up. Yeah, Freeze Dry does 18%. Now, the good thing for Blue here is that he does have Baxcalibur in the back to hit it really hard, but unfortunately, Manaphy could technically outspeed. Considering how much damage these Freeze Dries are doing, I don't think it would, but it is definitely an option for Manaphy to outspeed here, depending on... Oh, big crit from Blue. That forces Manaphy to have to rest again. Yeah, we see Psychic Noise come out. It does heal block the Manaphy. The Manaphy burns another sleep turn. I think here... So after the rest happens, and we see this crit Freeze Dry, because you know this Manaphy is asleep, you don't know if it has Sleep Talk yet, but it hasn't used Sleep Talk, so you can wait for one sleep turn. You see that it doesn't have Sleep Talk, it doesn't go for the Sleep Talk. So now here, I think you switch out into Bax and just click Outrage. Because if you go into Bax and click Outrage at this point, or like some kind of attack, just any strong attack, then you'll be able to take out the Manaphy, or at least force it out and force some progress here. But if you stay in with Lapras, your Lapras is slowly getting chipped down, and this Manaphy can just get a rest back up a little bit later, especially considering Psychic Noise. Yeah, it heal block ends exactly as the Manaphy wakes up. So now Manaphy can go back to rest. And now it's back at full again, and now you have to put... you have to start Freeze Dry spamming it again in order to get it down into Bax range. So that is a little bit unfortunate for Blue, but it's looking really good for Lunar to have such a healthy Manaphy with so many boosts up, able to potentially sweep this team. So we see Stored Power come out, does take out the Lapras. Manaphy is at 70%. Avalugg comes out. Scald does bring it down to 30. I'm assuming it's going to get off some more damage with Body Press. Yep. Gets out a solid 39%. Keyberry does come out. And the Manaphy does get another rest off, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, Blue goes for a really good Iron Defense here. Knowing that the rest is probably going to come out, because otherwise the Manaphy does lose to the Baxcalibur. Going for the Iron Defense here to boost Body Press damage so that this Manaphy will always be in range of Baxcalibur, or honestly just loses straight up to the Avalugg here. Since it does get 2 shots, since the last one did like 30%. Now at +2 will probably do like 50 or 60. So Manaphy is actually forced out here despite all of its defenses. Yeah, it does 53. So now Pelipper comes out, takes the Body Press. Not very well, actually. Eject Button brings Pelipper back into... takes Pelipper out. back into Manaphy. Hydration does wake it up. Goes for the Scald, but at this point, without any boost, Jimmy Bundler can just come in, click Freeze Dry, take out the Manaphy or the Pelipper. We see an Endure come out from the Greninja. Bundle does go for the Freeze Dry and gets a freeze on the Greninja. That's crazy. The thing is, though, the Freeze Dry only did 43% because of Protein. I wonder if going Battle Bond here would have been a little bit better if you were planning on doing Upper Hand or Endure strats, since that would help you boost up really far, and also help you with like outspeeding Scarf Mons and things like that, which might have been a little bit nicer here. And it also would have allowed you to get into Salic Berry range from this Freeze Dry. But regardless, it was still a really cool set, and the freeze is super unfortunate because it does mean that Lunar cannot get off the strategy, and so Greninja does go down to another Freeze Dry. And from here, Freeze Dry does kind of just sweep here. We see Yachi come out, does eat barely, but the freeze comes out with the immediate thaw as Walking Wake gets up the Sunny Day. But because it is a Scarf Bundler, it does actually outspeed even the Booster Energy Walking Wake, or the Sun boosted Walking Wake. And Iron Bundle does clean up, and I think it got like 4 kills maybe. Yeah, either 4 or 5 kills. I think it might have been 4. But yeah, I mean, this mod is just a demon. We are, in fact, going to be banning it next season. So if you are interested in playing next season, don't worry, you won't have to face it. Mostly for this reason, it is really hard to find counterplay to Iron Bundle, which is why it is banned in most Monotype formats. So we will also be doing the same. But still really well played to Lunar, and arguably a very tough matchup. Blue has also now secured his spot in the semifinals, and it is looking super good for him since both myself and Gradients have types that are weak to ice, and he will in fact be playing me for the semifinals match next week. So we will see how that goes. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I did manage to win week 4 against Blue using Ancient Power strats and getting Omni Boost. So we'll be able to see if I can replicate that, or if Blue's Ice team will be able to take me down and advance them to the finals. But regardless, thank you to Lunar for participating this season, and hopefully we'll see him back next season. With that, we're going to go to our last game for this first round of the playoffs, and that will be Central versus Los Lotto, using a Mono Psychic team versus Mono Dragon. So let me see if I have pace. I think I do. Yes, I do. Okay, so we have Life Orb, Flygon, First Impression, U-Turn, Earthquake, and Stealth Rock. We have a Light Clay dual screens Latios with Tailwind, which looks really, really good here. I'm assuming that's a lot of the weakness policy Roaring Moon set up. It is an Endure weakness policy set with Dragon Dance, Knockoff, and Earthquake, which looks really, really strong here. Yeah, I mean, Earthquake Knockoff hits pretty much everything on this team. So let's see if this Roaring Moon can put in the work here, especially considering the fraud allegations against it. But we have Dragalge with a Pyappa Berry, adaptability. We do see a Terra Ground instead of a Terra Steel, which is interesting. We have Dragon Tail, Terra Blast, Sludge Wave, and Flip Turn. We have a Chople Berry Archaludon with Iron Defense, Steel Beam, Thunder Wave, and Dark Pulse. We have a Regen, Heavy Duty Boots, Shift Gear, Knockoff, Rapid Spin, U-Turn, Cyclozar. Yeah, very cool team. Very interesting options. Definitely a lot of changes from the team that Central bought last week against Los Lotto to beat and it ended up losing actually week 7. So we'll see if he's able to pull out a win in this rematch here. We have Los Lotto bringing a Shuka Berry Slowking with Ice Beam, Slack Off, Chilly Reception, and Toxic. We have Jirachi with Leftovers, Serene Grace, U-Turn, Iron Head, Play Rough, and Stealth Rock. A Bibiri Berry, Terra Fairy, Delphox, Dazzling Gleam, Flamethrowers, Psychic, Scorching Sands, which looks really, really good here. Yeah, Scorching Sands plus Dazzling Gleam pretty much hits everything. We have A Choice Scarfed Latias with Draco Meteor, Alluring Voice, Ice Beam, and Healing Wish. Boulder is Banded. Gonna hit like a truck pretty much with Close Combat, Earthquake, Mighty Cleave, and Sacred Sword. Does pretty much hit everything really hard. Sacred Sword is really cool to bypass Arcaladon's defense boost. And then we have a Colberberry Intimidate Warrior with Earthquake, Lunge, Reflect, and Thunder Wave. Max Fizdef. Yeah, really cool. So, good sets from both sides. And yeah, with that, we'll just get into the final match for the first round of the playoffs. So we see Flygon lead. We see Jirachi immediately switch out into the Warrior as Stealth Rock goes up. We see U-Turn come out. Does a solid chunk to the Warrior. Life Orb does show up. As Arcaladon comes in on the Reflect. Dark Pulse doesn't do much to Warrior with the Colberberry. Thunder Wave does come off to into an Earthquake into Arcaladon. Arcaladon does go for another Dark Pulse, and this does take out the Psychic Moose. Delphox comes out here, goes for the Terra Fairy. Scorching Sands unfortunately does not take out the Arcaladon. And Steel Beam does come out. Delphox does live due to the Babiri Berry, but we see a Dazzling Gleam come out now from the Delphox. As Latias goes for the that was cool. The Magician came out and took off the Light Clay, which means that the screens actually don't last long enough, or they don't last longer anymore. They're only going to last 5 turns from the Latias. But you see the Delphox continue to spam Dazzling Gleam on the Latias, and now Roaring Moon comes in, goes for the Dragon Dance. Dazzling Gleam comes out. It does live through screens with that insane special defense that it has, and now this Roaring Moon looks like it's in prime position. We see a knockoff come out, does obliterate the Latias. Slowking comes out, probably also dies. Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a full Roaring Moon sweep. Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Lost Auto. I think losing the Colberberry Moose at the beginning, as well as just not having health on the Delphox to potentially live an attack from this Roaring Moon. Not that after activating Weakness Policy it would have. It was just really unfortunate for Lost Auto. He wasn't able to recover from this Roaring Moon getting set up. But yeah, I mean, really good prep from Central, bringing this Weakness Policy set with screens. Really well played to Lost Auto as well. Just unfortunate that the turn of events that ended up leading to this Roaring Moon getting the sweep. But regardless, Lost Auto has done super, super well in this league with a very unconventional Psychic team, in my opinion. Things like Glow King and like Weirdeer are not mons that I ever would have expected to be on a mono Psychic team. And he's definitely shown their worth and shown how powerful they can be with his really wacky and creative builds every week. So thank you again for Lost Auto participating this season in the GLCC, and hopefully he will come back next season to show us what he can do with a different type. But congrats to Central as well for winning the game and moving on to the semifinals round, in which he will be playing against Gradients. So we can take a look at the bracket really quickly. We have Ice versus Flying. We have Ground versus Dragon. And then whoever wins both of those matches will play the following week for the champion, the first ever champion of the Gym Leader Challenge Circuit. So make sure to stay tuned for that for the conclusion of Season 1. And if you're interested, make sure to apply to Season 2. Once again, Discord link is in the description, and the application can be found in the server. So thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.